Hi folks, my name is Brenton Dickinson and I am your prof for UPEI 1020-2, the second section for inquiry studies this fall. Well, I'm wanting to do this walk through the syllabus video for a few reasons. One, you may have missed the first class or second class when we talk about these things, or both classes if you just registered anew and you really don't have any idea what's going on. This syllabus orientation video should be able to orient you, or at least that's my goal. Second, I find that I learn in different ways than some people, and one of the ways that I learn is to rethink things or take it in study it in a different way. So for those of you who were listening in class, this can be a backup for that. The third thing is, this is also a way not just to orient you to the class, but to teach you how a syllabus works. Basically, how to read a course outline at university, what professors are expecting, and so on. So I hope that I can model that here today. All right. On Moodle, you can get a link to the Google Doc for your syllabus. This requires your @UPEI email address because it's a protected document, but it should look something like this. These notes here on the side allow you to hop through the syllabus and check in at any different point of it. Okay. And so that can be helpful there. So this year, our theme is authenticity in the age of AI. You can't even say authenticity. So that's kind of what we're going to be querying. This is an inquiry-based course. We're talking about questions, curiosity, all the things that we are essential for learning. So we're going to be asking the question, in this digital age, what is authentic? What does it mean to be genuine? So as we set up this course, we have a few things to kind of think about. One thing I'm not going to talk about until we get into class is there's going to be, instead of a textbook, there's a Stemble fee. Stemble's a application, a bit of software from a company, a global company that has one of its leaders here in Prince Edward Island, and they're going to help us with a generative AI bot that's going to help us in some of the learning terms. So more of that to come. As we look at authenticity in this class culture, this is a course that you need to be in class for. Not only is it mandatory, but you can't pass unless you're part of that activity. Moreover, even beside marks, which I don't think are the most important thing, we are an inquiry-based learning class. Now, Dr. Stacy McKinnon, with her teaching partner, Beth Archer-Kuhn from the University of Calgary, they're global leaders of what's called IBLHE, Inquiry-Based Learning in Higher Education. And they've come up with these 8 principles that talk about the essential of inquiry-based learning when we make curiosity and students the center of learning. It flips things around. And so there's these 8 fundamentals that then change the role of me as prof and you as students. So one of them, what we do, is certainly what I do, is foster a curiosity mindset. We recenter the education upon students, so that it's really about your questions and your thoughts. We are focusing on collaboration rather than competition. Now, I know competition sounds a bit funny here at University of Prince Edward Island, but if you're from parts of Europe or the United States, a lot of the Southern Hemisphere, competition is actually how they motivate students at high school and university, college level. So we're not going to do that. You're working together in partnership. Now we can see with these 3 things that things are starting to turn. So I go from being a teacher, like disseminating knowledge, to being a model of a curiosity mindset, a model of learning from you, expecting to learn from you, which is number 8 here, numbers 1 and 8. I become a facilitator of collaborative, reflective, and curiosity-driven environment and a guide through the discovery process. So when we talk about balancing content and process and scaffolding, this is what we mean. I'm not just going to be giving you the information that you need to do your research projects. Throughout the whole course, we're going to be constantly thinking about not just content, authenticity, and AI, but process. How do we discover? What does it mean to do research? What does it mean to read with purpose? How do we give one another feedback to help one another along, and so on? Both the content and the process are important for this first year experience class. We're going to give you the choice. You're going to have a long curiosity project all the way through the semester and numerous steps where you're going to choose the topic. You're going to design your own research project in terms of methodology, how you want to research it. And then you're going to decide for yourself, what is the best way to share your research? Most people think it's a paper or something at the end, and that can be that, but we're really encouraging you to make something. So at the end of this process, we're hoping that you've come up with a great question that you love, that you use all kinds of methodologies. So not just peer review research but like interviews and looking at large data sets on the internet, or using surveys or case studies. There's 100 ways to gather information and to find out ways of answering your question. And then we would like you to make something to share it at the end at a curiosity fair on Friday, December 6th. So make sure that you have that time off work and other commitments, because that's an essential part of what we're doing. Now, we'll talk through class about what people have made, but this could be something like a podcast. It could be a YouTube style video. It could be effectively a poster board with a conversation. It could be a diorama, and that you present it. Some people have made their own board games, or they've created their own kind of like card game learning activity. People have done art like dance or painting. People have written more personal responses. People have done experiments and continue those experiments into the Curiosity Fair, and so on. Hopefully you'll have lots of ideas, but we're encouraging you to share your big project in a way other than, an 8-page research paper. Okay. And so as part of that scaffolding, you have the choice. You set your own growth, but I provide the scaffolding. I provide the the support at whatever level you happen to be at, and whatever task of research, writing, interviewing, peer critiquing, and so on. I'm there to kind of provide that scaffolding. There'll be lots of reflection throughout this term. Each week you're doing a learning log, which includes a reflection content to it, a small or large reflection on what you've learned. Now, 2 things that we have to do together is embrace the discomfort of new learning. And to do that, I have to expect to learn from you. That's part of what my role is. Okay, now in terms of the class lineup of things, the class marks are 20% and the Curiosity Project is 80%. It sounds really simple, just 2 things. Well, the Curiosity Project has a dozen steps and a few different projects as part of it. So it's a pretty big thing. And these 2 are mixed. We'll be working on the Curiosity Project every week throughout the term. And so really what's key are these learning logs and then peer feedback. So learning logs each week, and you can see here's a schedule of the different learning logs. They may change a tiny bit and when they're due throughout the term. At the beginning of class, you'll have uploaded onto Moodle or occasionally given me live a learning log, and usually it has 2 components. One little assignment or thought project or something. In week 2, it's the QFT in action. This is a live downtown Charlottetown scavenger hunt effectively, and you'll bring it to me at the library, at the Charlottetown Learning Center library on Queen Street. You have to find it and then find me within it. I'll be working there from roughly 11:45 until the end of class, 5:15 on Thursday. So you can find me and give me your project live, okay? And then a little later, there's just a quick reflection for you to write that evening on Moodle. And that's how that process will work most weeks. So you'll have a a project, we're going to go to the library, and then you're going to have some project from that library, and then you reflect on your learning. So your logs have those two components to it, something to do and then reflecting on your learning. And then peer feedback is going to be happening in almost every log step. You're going to be writing to encourage and to support and to give guidance to one another. And we've got that Stemble tool that's going to help us along on that journey. So the outline of the course really fits here in this self-reflection period. The participation is quite large because it's really key what we do in class, but participation includes being ready on class. So if you have a video to watch or something to read before class starts, you need to be there and ready. If there's something written to be handed in, you need to have that ready when your prof asks you. And you should be able to work well in breakout groups and in your teams. So that's what's key about this particular aspect of the course. There's also a bonus assignment, which is kind of fun. I encourage you to read that. It's a great project designed by Ryan Drew, who's my teaching partner, and you'll get to see a few times throughout the course. Now, I've done my best. There may be some mistakes in it. There always is. At least a mistake. I'm sure there are mistakes. Anyway, a course timeline for those of you who think in this kind of way, a week by week thinking, or you could make this into a checklist. I think either way, whichever way you learn best will work for you. And this runs through the 13 weeks of the class. And so I hope that can be helpful to you. Sometimes the topics will change, but it's usually a pretty good sense of what we're doing. Now, I'm not going to go through all the course policies, but I want to highlight a couple of things. Excuse me. One is I really am somebody as a teacher who supports accessibility, giving as many ways as possible for people to learn and embrace the diversity of diversity within the classroom. So that doesn't just include language diversity, cultural diversity, religious diversity, things like that we talk about, gender or sex or sexuality. This also includes neurotypical thinking and neurodivergence as ways of thinking. This also includes different ways of learning, visual, oral, kinetic, or a combination of those. So whatever the otherness is in the class, we want to embrace that. And that also it means embracing things like ADHD, learning disabilities, other sorts of physical, emotional, or intellectual things that sometimes don't always work the way that the system works. And so that you've created little fixes or you have supports set up with the school to help. Whether those things are official or not, I would love to support you in any way that I can. The course content remains the same for everybody, but you get to design most of it. So hopefully that will match with those needs. The one thing is you just can't get behind in this class. It's not a good class to get behind in. Although you could hop in at any point. If you miss log 4, you can do log 5. You learn so much in these logs that it's really tough to fall behind. So we encourage you to engage and to remain engaged. But reach out to me if you have any concerns. Even if you're not diagnosed, you suspect that you have ADHD, we can talk about that and how to find supports for you, and whether, I have ADHD myself, and so I can maybe give you some tips from my perspective. So reach out to me with those things. Email me if your registration details, bio details aren't quite right, like your name is different than what's on the list, or I need to know particular gender pronouns or something like that. And I really encourage you to email me. I am a prof that likes teaching. This is why I do it. I do it because I love to teach. And I want to teach. So my promise to you is that I will answer emails within 24 hours by early Monday morning on the weekends. So the weekends could be a little bit of a delay, but I will respond, and you don't have to apologize for emailing me. And if I don't respond in 24 hours, then just email it again, and you don't have to apologize. It just means that my email got lost. I got more in my inbox than I was able to handle. I want to see your email and I want to correspond in that way. Okay? So All of this culture that I'm talking about, me and you as facilitator and as student, we're also collaborators. We're all doing this together. So I expect you to embrace that diversity and to help one another in the same kinds of ways. Welcome to this course. I love this Inquiry Studies course. I've taught it, I think this is 14th or 15th time. I don't know. And I just really look forward to getting to know you this term and to discovering what we're able to make and learn together.